Brutal. Brutal, I tell you. I'm not talking about the weather either. I think it was kind of... Anyway. See if we can break this one down for y'all. There he is. What are you doing?
Hey, what am I doing?
I said, how are you doing?
Oh, how am I doing? Oh, just, living the dream of another
Bills.
Buffalo Bills close one. This is a close one.
Interestingly enough, I took a look. The games that McDermott has coached in the last 2 years that are within a touchdown or within one score, today, because of the loss today, he's 9-5.
Oh, that's interesting.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah,
That's weird.
interesting. You know what really kind of, my grandfather used to say this. What really burns my fanny? This is what he used to say.
I thought you were going to do a Peter Griffin. What grinds my gears?
So what really gets me is the fact that if you look at the wild card in the AFC, it's 7-9 right now. Right? You look at the Bills' records. The Bills could conceivably be
7-6, right?
Yeah, they could be right there. Like 7-9 might get, that might be that wild card spot. It's just kind of frustrating when the Bills could really be in the hunt, and they're just not right now. But welcome everybody to the #Sports Postgame Show. Mario is wearing a hoodie that's big enough that if I had a stick, I could turn it into a tent and sleep in it.
He's got jokes. He's got jokes today.
This thing is gigantic.
No, but I think ultimately, we can agree that there's not enough pieces in place for them to be a playoff team right now.
Yeah, I think that's...
So therefore, having a higher draft pick and getting more pieces to the puzzle, I think would be a lot better.
Well, and I think this depends on your perspective right now, right? So if you're looking at the Bills and kind of getting a little frustrated with the way everything has been, and holy cow, the chat is... Okay. Holy cow, guys.
Right, before we get into it, thank you for the chat. Paul and I, we were brainstorming a few things. If you want us to, potential topics for the show, for the drive a little bit later, make sure you put before your questions so we don't answer it on the broadcast and try to give you a 30-second spiel on it. So we give you a long drawn-out answer.
Yeah, that's it.
So for us to keep it more detailed, just put hashtag Q&A. Hashtag Q&A. All right, kind of like that.
Okay.
That'll work perfectly. All right.
Hashtag Q&A.
Yeah.
You realize that it's backwards in
it's
this
not.
camera, right?
I did it.
Oh, it's not?
No, it's not.
Oh, all right. Well,
my
whatever.
jersey's backwards.
What do I know? Okay, so let's get right into the chat. But first off, before we get into all your comments, so thank everybody for the live chat. It's already banging. So before we get into that, I think there's a bit of perspective that you need to take into moving forward with the Bills, right? So if you're upset about the loss, I understand that. I hate to lose football games too, but you also have to look at it. You lost it to a division opponent. So how bad is this really, right? If you're going to lose a game and you're in the position the Bills are in, aren't you happy to lose it to the Jets? Like, if this is a game and you're kind of like, well, we had to give one, does it frustrate you more or less that it's against the Jets because it's inside the division?
I don't really. That really doesn't. If you're in a playoff hunt and you need a win in the AFC, and then and you lose, it's a loss in the AFC, also in your division to try to climb up. But I don't think anybody had any aspirations of the playoffs after Allen got hurt.
Yeah.
So it's it drops them back down to 6th.
Yeah.
Now they're 6th. They're picking 6th in this 2019 draft. So
that's what I'm talking about, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
That's a huge thing for them. Plus, now it negated the win that they had against the Jets for them to bump above them.
Yeah.
So even though both teams are now 4-9. It's very conceivable that they'll pick before the Jets anyway.
Yeah. Well, let's go into the chat. First off, DJ X Sketch calls out special teams right out of the gate. Don't blame you at all for that. Special teams was atrocious today.
How's he still have a job?
I don't know. Just brutal. Just absolutely brutal. So, I honestly, guys, I would call a retired rugby player to coach our special teams as opposed to Danny Crossman. I would take it. I would take it right now. I am tired of the special teams unit. We gave them big returns today. We had a field goal blocked. Today was bad. Come on, let's cut bait. Let's move on. I think that's the mode that the Bills are in right now, is in a move on mode. So special teams was, Thank you very much, Bills fan 7883. Dreadful is the perfect way to sum up the Bills special teams.
It's just dreadful. There's no continuity. There's no communication. And you could say that for the offense and the
Yeah.
defense. You know, we have a lot of new parts everywhere, but consistently, we've seen improvements over the offense over the
Right.
last few weeks. We've seen the defense be pretty dominant. Not at no point this year was the Bills' special teams ever a highlight.
Yeah.
Ever. Like, never. I mean, and I have my thoughts on Brian Dable, but I will reserve those.
Yeah. So, getting back to the live chat, which again was slamming before the broadcast even started. So, thank you again for sticking around. All right. So, James Parson, Allen needs to learn touch on his passes. Not every ball has to be a rocket. Absolutely true.
I wanted to bring that up to you, but continue.
Yeah, I mean, that's 100% true. And there's a couple things about that get me, right? So Zay Jones today was again exposed for the guy that likes to let the numbers make the catch for him, right? You heard a pass ricochet off his shoulder, off his chest plate, and you could hear it through the stadium. Whang!
I was outside chilling in the driveway and I heard it.
But absolutely, Allen was missing some routine plays today.
I don't think his elbow's 100% because I saw Allen pre-injury and post-injury, and people want to talk about the throw last week in Miami. I mean, he makes that throw across the field in his sleep.
Yeah.
You know, a couple of throws today. I mean, he does put some zip on the ball, but a lot of times it seems like I think he's in pain. I think some of those throws he has, he's in pain.
He's in pain or uncomfortable.
I would say in pain because he's still running around and hitting. I think
He's running for his life.
That's
man.
a big deal. That's
Yeah.
the fact that he's still taking them shots. He got up very slow today. And just by the way, Spiro Diaz, is that the guy's name that was announced again?
Yeah.
If there was a drinking game that said every time he says gingerly, you got to drink, I wouldn't have made it to the fourth quarter. He said,
Yeah, that's true. John Roberts brings up a great point. Cold today. So if it's a tendon issue, like they were telling us it was, you know, like a joint issue, absolutely that would be a problem. You know, that would absolutely be a problem. So catching up a little bit, Big Spence is not down on Allen, but they were both tested against the Jets. One was better save the kid for next year. Again, making the case for Matt Barkley. You've been riding that train for a long time, Big Spence. Stencil Kisser, special teams failed, drop passes, Allen making bad throws. O-line is still horrible, and let's not forget the penalties. Absolutely true. Today was a tough day.
Despite all of that, still in the game.
Yeah, we're still in the game.
To the
You know,
end.
but the offensive line at the very beginning of the game, and they made adjustments at halftime, but you could see the communication between Dawkins and Teller wasn't great because you had a bunch of false start penalties on that side of the line, and when the Jets would stunt, those guys weren't passing guys off at all. So to explain what the stunt is, right? That's when you have a tackle and a defensive or a tackle and a guard, right? And they have a defensive end and a down D lineman. The down D lineman comes into the guard, right? And then the defensive end slides around into the gap.
Yeah, basically, if we were to sprint right at the camera right now, Paul would go ahead of me, and I'd take his spot.
Right.
Basically, right behind him, and then that does it works on if you have an offensive line that's young or inexperienced. And is not used to communicating on plays like that. You use a lot of stunts just to try, or it's a tactic used if you're not getting to the quarterback. You know what I mean? You're not getting to the quarterback. You're not generating pressure. You try to use some stunts and twists inside. Are some things that you can do, and then they were doing that a lot to Teller and Dawkins, and it was confusing. But Allen still was getting out of the mesh the majority of the time. He still has the tendency to roll right a little too much.
Right.
The called quarterback runs, stop it. He'll run enough on his own. Stop it.
I feel that. You know, at this point you have to look at the liability that's going to carry into later in the season. You know, what does he really gain from having designed QB runs? I think it band-aids the offense because you've had sort of a carousel of players in there. You know, you lose McCoy, and there was a great point brought up by I think it was
DJ Sketch.
DJ Sketch said that McCoy is an old man. We're just pulling muscles left and right, which is absolutely true. And then somebody else brought up that the timing was Tony Aguilar. Dable got here and Shady went under. Timing is everything. Things have been bad with that running offense. But still, if you look at the number of rushing touchdowns the Bills have, still near the top of the league in rushing touchdowns. But they're all from your quarterback. Your running back's got three touchdowns.
The Bills really need to decide as far as the whole. I've been banging the Dable drum like for him to get out here. You have to realize something. Do you want to have one of the most exciting football players in the league for the next 5 years? Or do you want to have a franchise guy for the next 12 and 15?
Right.
So they have to decide that right now. And the plays that he's calling right now like design runs by Allen. Okay, I understand that, maybe once or twice, but the kid's running already. The kid's running for his life. These kids trying to get out and make plays. And a part of the maturation process is that he needs to stop trying to make every play. You know, you get outside the the tackle box, put in the fifth row, relax. I mean, it is exciting, some of the stuff that he does, but you're not, when you get close to that sideline, you just
get rid of it.
Yeah.
Just get rid of it. Yeah, there was no reason to force that ball in, especially if you go back and you look, there's 3 Bills receivers and 4 Jet defenders. There's no reason for him to be in pressure and keep that ball in play. Just throw the ball away. The Bills had 1 punt today. Like, you could throw the ball away. The Bills punted 1 time today. Just think about that for a minute.
They should have punted twice.
Regardless of how many times they should have punted, the fact is that they only punted once, which a lot of Bills fans would take as, oh, wow, we were in this game the whole time. The Bills were. The Bills were in the driver's seat for the entire game, basically. But to only punt once is like a moral victory as a Bills fan.
But the reason, the pattern you're starting to see, Bills come out, last few weeks with Allen, very exciting, a lot of gadget stuff. They're moving the ball. They're moving the ball down the field. Their lead up to Jacksonville, to Miami, to the Jets, they're able to drive the ball and move it.
Yep.
It's that second and third quarter where nothing happens. Nothing. And it's when he gets off script, a lot of things start to crumble around everything. I mean, like I said, I'll get to the halftime, the last 2 minutes before the half, in a little bit, but let's get to a couple of these comments.
At one point in the game, Zay had 7 targets with 2 catches. He's finished the day with 9 targets and 3 catches, so that tells you where Zay Jones is right now. Isaiah McKenzie looks great again. Robert Foster had a phenomenal day. And I think that's what the Bills are trying to do. They're trying to develop that communication and that chemistry with those 2 guys who are going to be restricted free agents. So you're going to be able to keep them at nothing next year. So they're going to be making basically league minimum. But you still have a problem with Zay Jones because Zay is so hot and cold. And again, it just looks like he has some trouble catching the heat from Allen. They're not on the same page.
If I was the Bills, I would bring Zay back Monday morning and put him on the jugs machine for an hour.
Yeah. Those things on the end of your arms are not only for wiping your booty. They're for catching footballs. That's what you
talking to your kid right now?
It was tough, man. Joe Smith, 5 drop passes. Good Lord. The fact is...
Good Lord is right.
The thing about the drop passes, though, remember, those are catchable balls. Like, you had a quarterback that only completed 50% of his passes today. So you figure in the drop passes, now we're looking at something a little bit different. I do want to talk about Charles Clay real fast before we get too far into everything that happened inside the game. You all right?
I don't want to talk about it.
Are you doing what you hope the Bills do to Charles Clay on Monday? Leave?
The coach wants to see you. Bring your playbook.
Yeah, I know. I think at this point you do have to look at just moving on from Charles Clay. It doesn't cost you any money next year that it wouldn't cost you to let him go right now. You really have to look at what Charles Clay is doing for you on this team. And if you're really going young and you're really looking towards next year, Charles Clay playing versus not playing ultimately doesn't impact your team all that much.
I believe if Kroom was active, Clay wouldn't have been in there.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So that's fair. Ooh, below 0. Foster is the new peerless Price, rate number 2, but nothing more. That is an outstanding point. I agree with you there. The Bills are still desperately in need of a number 1 wide receiver. Period. The end. Foster is a great number 2. Peerless Price is a great comparison. I love that. Pure speed guy, works the outside. I like that comparison. It's a great comparison.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I'll take the other side of that coin. I didn't miss Benjamin today.
No.
Did you?
I missed having something to complain about just a little bit. Just a little. Jordan Mills went out. That wasn't a problem at all for me.
No?
I
didn't even know he went out.
Yeah, he went out late.
No, but I did know, but it didn't affect the game plan very much.
Joe Smith comes to Zay Jones' defense. Zay is still young. Big Spence, yes, I did say that Zay can't handle Josh's balls. I did say that. That is true. Josh Allen's new nickname is Happy Feet from Grendel. That is... He's moving. He's dancing back there. But today was tough for me with Allen because last week I saw a lot of things. He looked decisive. Today... I didn't feel as comfortable with Josh Allen. Still step forward, right? I thought he threw a lot of catchable passes, but those routine plays we're still just not there.
Well, I think the way that the things that we've mentioned before, and we've talked about before all the time, is that last week he went up against Adam Gase, offensive-minded head coach. Today he went up against Todd Bowles.
Yeah.
You know, so he's going to have, and plus there was another game on.
Yeah.
So Bowles, you know, Bowles is not stupid. Even though he's having trouble in New York, he was a very good defensive coordinator. So he knows the pitfalls that a rookie quarterback will have. And that was some of the things that kind of hurt him in the first matchup was he didn't know what to do with Barkley.
Right.
Like after he threw a long pass, all right, we're going to stay in the box to this. In the first game, didn't work. So now he's like, listen, we got to try to do something where, okay, we're going to try this. If it doesn't work, and Allen started running all over the place, then he started adjusting to it.
Right.
Well, Dabo didn't adjust to the adjustment.
Right.
So that's why a lot of this stuff started to stall throughout the middle part of that game.
Yep.
And nothing was really happening. But Allen is, I mean, did he show you anything today that we didn't already know coming into this game?
I don't think so.
He has like 4 to 5 inaccurate passes that are awful. He has 4 to 5 passes where you're like, that's an NFL throw.
Yep.
He's used his athleticism to get out of the way. He's going to make 2 or 3 or 4 rookie mistakes that all rookies make. You know, get rid of the ball. You can't make every play. So as far as his development goes, while I've switched sides and I like that he's playing.
Yeah.
However, I'm not a fan of the offense that he's in and how it's going.
Yeah, I think that's
progressing.
an interesting conversation to have, right? So
Yeah.
when you talk about, you know, Josh Allen needs to play for his development. There's a very strong school of thought. I know a lot of you people in the chat agree with that Allen needs to play in order to get better, and that's a very popular school of thought. You do also have to ask yourself, what is Allen learning within the scope of this offense, right? So playing is one thing, but you know,
If you're learning the wrong habits, they can't help.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way to phrase that. So it is sort of a double-edged sword, right? You see a lot of rookie quarterbacks get thrown out there and they learn and they say, well, listen, he'll get better. And then you see this carousel of coordinators come in and you know, you don't ever get any traction.
And
so
you get Alex Smith.
man, I wouldn't want to be Alex Smith right now. Can you believe Mark Sanchez got pulled? Coach's decision? I mean,
Yeah.
how bad is Mark Sanchez to get
Yeah.
pulled from a team
Does
who
that
lost to
surprise
quarterbacks with
anybody?
broken legs? Not really. The Sanchez.
You lost to
the
2 guys who
franchise.
can't even stand up.
I know. So, Joe Smith, how about this O-line? It is trash. Tim Ellington says, I couldn't see if the receivers were open. That annoyed me. The TV coverage I didn't think was great today. The broadcast coverage?
No.
I didn't think the broadcast coverage
But
was
I will
great.
say this,
I'm
as
with you.
far as the O-line is, and we know it needs improvement. I mean, that's been beaten to death.
Yeah.
Not a lot of holding calls. When you have a
No.
quarterback that runs as much as he
Yeah.
does, you expect to see more holding calls on the offensive line because you're expecting to block a guy and he has just taken off one way and you're like,
Yeah.
whoa, I'm inside the frame. What's going on? So not a lot of holding calls. So
No.
if I could speak to one positive of the offensive line, that's what it was.
Yeah.
And what, 2 sacks today? 1 or 2 sacks?
No, three.
Three?
3 for 14.
Okay.
3 for 14.
All right, so I mean, not horrible,
You know,
but they need to
it's-
improve.
well,
We
so-
all
I mean,
need to-
and to be honest with you, when your quarterback rushes for 100 yards, typically you're going to have more sacks, right? That's going to be it. Like,
I don't know how many times Vic got sacked.
he got sacked a lot.
He did?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He got sacked a lot. It just kind of comes with the territory of a running quarterback. When they make the decision to run, sometimes it's just not the right decision. You know, that's just all there is
Big
to it.
Spence.
Yeah.
A list of what Allen has learned in this offense. Number 1, slide. And that's the only thing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he didn't take, what was that, the Ryan Fitzpatrick school of sliding? Fitz would dive head first
Fitz
everywhere.
would definitely dive head first.
Well, he didn't want to take the Kyle Orton guide to sliding. When Kyle Orton slid 3 yards short of the first down.
Oh my God!
Like the
got his-
Titanic
Got
going
his
down.
cleat caught. And
It was terrible. It was terrible.
he's gonna play. He's gonna play second base for the Mariners next year.
John Morelli, you can't have your QB as a leading rusher. 100% agree. If you want to have a rushing team and have a team that's predicated on the run, great. But you can't be your quarterback. I mean,
unless you have
unless you don't like him.
3 backup quarterbacks
Yeah. Yeah.
that just have the same skill set, you're
Yep.
fine. Do it all the time.
Yep.
But I really think, like I talked about last week, the 135 yards that Allen ran for last week had to cover up something that was much deeper. A bigger problem that was going on with this offense. Whether it was, we said we determined it was either wide receivers aren't getting open, the O-line is bad, and the scheme doesn't work. And I was talking with somebody this week, and they were talking about, well, none of the receivers are getting open. I'm like, well, that's his job.
Right.
You have to try to scheme things to get your wide receivers open.
100%.
Now, one of the comments in the Big Spence, he said, all our receivers are number twos. Well, I'll take 3 number twos.
That works though in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, because you're not going to have 3 number 2 corners.
I mean, the Saints worked with 3 number 2 wide receivers for a decade, but you have Drew Brees
Kenny
as your
Stills,
quarterback.
Lance Moore.
Yeah, you have Drew Brees as your quarterback. Like,
but it's covering up a bigger problem.
Right.
It's definitely covering up a bigger. His athleticism, his ability to escape is covering up a lot of problems with this offense. And I have to point to the scheme. If you can't scheme your guys open, I mean, because they're not going to get open. You know that going in.
Right.
Okay, we don't have talent for talent, some of the guys that have to be covering them, so we have to try to design certain plays. He's not designing them.
That's good. I do want to point out, thank you, DJ Sketch, for your hashtag Q&A. Who is the next likely coach to get fired? Again, if there's something that you want to see for us throughout the week, for us to cut an episode for you, just hashtag that Q&A. So hashtag Q&A, and we'll make sure to see that. Lots of stuff coming in. Again, O-line is, I mean, Bills fan 7083 hits a nail on the head. Eric Wood, that's the biggest missing piece. You need a center, especially with a rookie QB. I think Josh Allen would be, this offense would look different if Eric Wood was at center. Because you can't tell me that Bodine and Roy are equal to Wood in the knowledge department, right?
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, Wood makes that line better, period. From a communication standpoint, Wood makes that line better.
Now, do you think, because I've seen Allen doing it a couple times, are they starting to phase in him calling the fronts? Is he starting to make the line calls?
I don't know. It's tough for me to tell right now. I wish we were in the press room to actually ask that question, but we're unfortunately not. Allen has taken more responsibility for calling kill calls and stuff like that.
Alert, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, Allen is doing some things that you want to see a quarterback do, but I don't think it's to protection yet. I don't think any of that happened.
He's just reading coverage. Right?
Yeah, I think the play that kind of reminds me is the sack that Allen took where the line down blocked right, and it was a backside. I don't remember exactly when it was. I think it was in the third quarter. If Allen, because there were 3 guys blitzing on the left side, and the play was to a QB boot back. So I mean, it was designed to fail against the look, and he didn't call a protection, he didn't call it a kill. So again, I'm kind of thinking that that's a problem. Jim Parker, thank you for joining us. So tired of people complaining about Allen. The line is horrible. Special teams was bad. Wide receivers dropping good passes. Did Allen make some bad throws? Yes, but no QB throws a perfect pass every down. That is 100% true.
That's excellent.
Yeah, that's a great way. That's a great.
You want to come on the show next week?
That's a great point. I think one of the things that the Bills need to work on is, again, generating opportunities to open the run game, because the Jets did not give one crap about the Bills running game. Didn't care at all.
Irvin was able to run the ball really well, too.
Right, but Marcus Murphy today showed you why Marcus Murphy will not be your starting running back next year. It's because he's not good in pass protection.
No.
He is just not good at keeping your quarterback, who you invested a very high pick in and is the future of your franchise. I think we can all say right now that you are moving forward with Josh Allen. There's no question. Most of us have limited reservations about it at this point. We got what we expected from Allen, right? He can throw a ball really far. He can run with it. He's survived so far, right? That was the hope. That was the hope. So I think it's a good point to make, but you cannot have Marcus Murphy in pass protection. You can't do it to Josh Allen. He is just not good at pass protection.
Just do that. Do your empty set like you always do. Oh wait, they're in 5 wide. It's going to be an Allen draw.
Right.
Like, he called so many plays today that I questioned as far as, I mean, if he called one more jet sweep, if he called one more fake dart pass, run up that middle of Allen, I was gonna lose my mind. Can I do it now? Can I do it in 2 minutes?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, we got any questions immediately?
Yeah. I mean, we got a few.
Okay.
Skippy the Tug Rat. Murphy is like 3'8". Q&A from my son, that's Skibag18. He goes, why do you suck in fantasy? And that's my kid. He's playing me in fantasy this week, and he is destroying me. Not even a match. It's not even a match. And let's see here.
Who drafted your team?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Allen needs to feather more passes from Michael Playdick. Yeah, it's touch. That's
He showed a little bit of touch.
not enough.
No, I think, but that's the thing though. Like when you say, okay, when you're trying to determine whether a pass is a touch pass or not, I think that his arm is hurting, and he just didn't put enough on it. You know what I mean? I think he maybe wanted to drill a couple more of those passes, but then he's just like. But you know, the thing we have to realize too, and we talked about this way before Allen was even drafted. The benefit you have with having Josh Allen as your quarterback in the development of a rookie quarterback is the fact that he doesn't know if he doesn't know the read right away. If he does not have the read right away, he has the arm to get it there if he makes the read late, which is a great thing to have. A lot of times, you know, he's making reads late, and you're going to see him try to rifle the ball in there because, oh, I made it late. And he throws it, and it's 150 miles an hour. That one pass he threw, I think it was to McKenzie in the 2-minute going in. McKenzie dropped it, and Adam Archuleta got all over me. So, you know, he's got to make that read a little bit earlier. I'm like, well, he didn't. Okay, he was trying to get it there. No one else in the league, with the exception of like 2 other guys, can make that throw and get it there the way he did. So that's one of those things where he needs to the more maturity he has, he'll make those reads more on time.
Yeah.
And he won't have to put as much on.
Yeah, so you're talking about the pass to Zay in the corner where it's a little late?
That too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That pass was
he'll
just
know
a
it's
shade late.
Yep.
Just a
Yep.
shade late.
How about Zay trying to throw a pass to Allen today?
Guys, like, what the hell are we doing? I understand the record is the record, but I don't need to know if Zay Jones is going to stay on this team dependent on how good he throws a pass, then perhaps we should just not worry about that at this point. Okay, so you want to do your thing, so I don't know what that thing is. So you just
Okay, so see, Paul knows that I have to go on these rants, and the 2 minutes. Okay, here's the thing that bothers me. Okay? Other than the fact that in the third quarter you came back after a change of possession after the fumble, and you called a timeout on the second play.
Oh, I know. I know.
How do you not have everything ready?
Yeah, bad clock management.
Okay, so the 2 minutes left. The Bills have the ball, 3rd and 16 on their own 6. You remember this? You were there. All right. So you're sitting there now. Prior to that play, it was a 2-minute warning. So you had a chance to talk to the quarterback. You had a chance to talk to the offense. What you do is this: you say, "Listen, you have 2 plays in your pocket. The play you're calling, and the play if you get the first down."
Yep.
Okay. Now, if you're deciding that you're not going to do a hurry-up offense at that point in time, call a timeout. They didn't do either one of those. He threw the ball to, I think it was Foster that caught it. What, you know, he dropped back. He threw the ball. It was 155 left.
Yeah.
They didn't snap the next play to 135.
Yeah.
And that's when Allen rolled to the right and threw it out of bounds after. And then it was
Right.
127 left on the clock.
Yeah.
So you ran 2 plays, took 33 seconds off the clock from your own 6.
Yeah.
Now you're in that range where after you completed that pass on 3rd down, you have to make a decision whether or not you're going to hurry up and run that next play,
Yeah.
or you're going to call a timeout. You had 3. Could have called a timeout there.
Yeah,
Didn't.
could have.
Horrible clock management. And he did it again with 2 timeouts left and 50 seconds left when Allen made that run up the middle. You got down to the 30. You got 2 timeouts left. He let another 15 seconds go off clock.
Yeah, sure.
Now, that's the thing that bugs me about Dable that I need to really accurately describe for everybody is the fact that you're coming out 3rd and 16 out of your own end zone. You have to have 2 plays ready or call a timeout as soon as he catches it.
Yeah.
Because if it's incomplete, it's incomplete. You're
Yeah,
fine. You don't
yeah.
care. But you have to have it. That's the thing that I'm talking about with Dable that he's not doing. Whereas, I mean, because the thing is with the 2-minute warning, you have 3 timeouts. That's like an eternity.
Oh,
That's
God,
an
yeah.
eternity. You have the ability to use the middle of the field. When you waste 20 seconds here, you waste 20 seconds there. You take the middle of the field out. So now everyone's covering the sidelines. You can't throw it in the middle.
Right.
So as far as that goes, that was my biggest pet peeve as far as Dable's play calling and how the Bills did.
Yep.
That 2-minute warning, you should have came away with 3 points there. There's no doubt. But then Allen, he ends up taking a sack. Okay, why are you even doing it? Run the ball, try to get up the middle. Because that out pattern he ran to Zay, that was to make up the 5 yards that he lost.
Yeah.
And now you're attempting a 40-something yard field goal and he gets blocked. So
Well, not only that, but I mean,
thing-
I think
that thing bothered me.
the hit on Hauschka bothered me. Like
It
on a
did.
personal level. Like the hit on Hauschka just seemed and it was right in front of the ref too. Like every replay angle is right in front of the ref. I get that kickers don't get the same protection as quarterbacks do, especially after a block kick. They're just a player, right? But it was away from the play.
It was away from the play. The ref sat there and said, "Hey, we have a 3-9 team playing a 4-8 team.
Yep.
Why do you care?" Incredibly bothered me. I think that something should have been called there, and nothing was. The hit out when Hyde picked the ball up, went out of bounds. He got hit late.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to call it a game? You're not going to call it a game.
Right.
I mean, I knew he wasn't going to call one on Hauschka after Hyde got blasted out of bounds.
Well, I mean, just that hit on Hauschka, to me, impacted the game late, right? Because you're looking at it, and Hauschka was what, 3 for 5 today? I think it was 3 for 5. But questioning his, like, even the field goal that he kicked from, what was it, 31, something like that. It was 30-yard field goal. Hauschka usually puts those over the uprights, and that ball,
he was hurt.
yeah, that he clearly wasn't feeling
If we're
it.
going to make a comment about the weather affecting the passes, what about the weather affecting the ball when he kicks it?
I don't think to that level, man. I don't think to that level. He looked like he was hurting. Yeah, the hit on the Hauschka shooter resulted in an injection. Skipping the top, Brad, I disagree a little bit because, again, kickers don't get the same protection as quarterbacks. It was away from the play, so it should have been a flag. Unfortunately, the block already happened, so if the play still would have stood, it would have been, put on at the end of the play. It wouldn't have overturned the play. So would it have impacted the play as a whole? No, it just would have impacted their starting field position. That's it. But it was.
Speaking of field goals, do you want to talk about the one, like almost a 50-yarder, and not punting it and putting them deep when you're up 4 points?
Yeah. So you're up 4 and you go to kick the field goal, and then does that speak to
That's McDermott.
Does that speak to McDermott's confidence in Hauschka that he's just going to make it? Because I mean, Hauschka's got a leg, so I mean, if you're going to, might as well try, right?
Well, the guy didn't even go in for halftime, didn't he? That's how long he was on the field. He didn't even, I don't think McDermott saw him in the locker room. But no, that very same way he had something blocked. That's his confidence in crossing. That's the thing I don't understand. Like, if you miss it, I know you're not thinking about missing it, but if you miss it, you give them half the field to come back on with well over enough time to do that.
Yep.
I just don't understand that. Listen, I would have. Unless he didn't have confidence in his defense at that point, I would have corner kicked it, tried to get it inside the 10. If you don't, you get it at the 20. You can force them to go 80 yards to score a touchdown, which they didn't do all day.
Right, you have a 4-point lead. So what's the difference between 4 points and 7 points? There is
nothing.
There's no difference.
They still got to score a
There's no
touchdown.
difference.
That's the thing that bothers me is the fact that we're 2 years in now. He's had 13 close games. This is his 14th close game that ended in a result within a touchdown.
Yeah.
So he should have that experience down. So maybe McDermott, learned something today from doing that. So,
what's up, Momo? Thank you for joining the chat.
Thanks for coming,
Joe Smith, we cannot go into next year with 2 31-year-old running backs. 1,000% agree. And I tell you right now, the radio will tell you, double nickel zero, will tell you that the Bills should not draft a running back early because you have Philip Lindsay torching the league right now in Denver, and you look at you look at the scope of the NFL. I do disagree with that, right? You have to look at Christian McCaffrey, who was a first-round pick. You have to look at Saquon Barkley, who was a first-round pick. You can complain about where these guys were drafted. Of course, you get your Rashad Pennies like in Seattle, but nobody can run the ball in Seattle this year. So I don't really know if that's
the fact that double nickel zero treats exceptions as the rule bothers me. It should bother everybody. Oh no, you should take one in the 5th, 6th round. Okay, how did our last 5th round pick do?
Yeah, that's and I don't get it. I think you bring in a guy that will be able to take the job.
Absolutely, you're drafting a starter.
Yeah, you have to draft a starting running back.
Starters are 1st and 2nd rounders, unfortunately.
Yep.
I wouldn't put it past Bean and McDermott to try to bundle some picks to get 2 seconds. One, you take an O-lineman. The second one, you take a running back.
They're definitely going to need to address the O-line. I mean, dear God, Mills, Miller, Dawkins, and Teller, that communication isn't there. I mean, who's our O-line coach? I don't even know.
Well,
isn't that terrible? I should know that.
No.
Don't worry about that.
No, don't
that guy.
worry.
Don't worry about that guy.
That little guy.
Yeah, don't worry about that little guy.
The problem with it too is that you didn't just change like a guard or a tackle.
Yeah.
The center. Groy only had a week. You got to think about that. So the communication is going to be off when you think about guys when they switch quarterbacks. Guys end up jumping off sides because the cadence is so different.
Right.
There's a certain pattern that some these guys follow as far as offensive line. When you come up to the line, Bodine's been doing it for the whole year.
Right.
So then Groy comes in.
Yep.
Now Groy, it's a little different than when he's playing guard, standing next to Bodine, rather than being the center guy and making all the calls. Some guys may not hear them. They may be a little different. You know what I mean? Even though he's trying to do the same calls, like, well, like you think about it, for like 10 games, you're the center, right? I'm the guard. Okay, you're the center for 10 games, and you're making all these line adjustments, and then a new center comes in, and I see something where you should call probably this, and you call something different. I'm going, wait. Bodine usually calls it like this.
Yeah.
What are we doing now?
So you think that was
interpretation.
the reason that we saw the O-line jump a lot?
I think it's a great point. I think it's a great point to bring up because we saw Roy would have been the starter if he was better than Bodine.
Yeah.
So there's a reason why Bodine ended up taking it from him, and Bodine was heralded as a depth signing.
Yeah.
He wasn't supposed to be the starter.
No.
So
no. Well, I mean, again, you signed him when you thought McCarron was going to be your starter.
True.
I mean, that's what you did. That's what you did. I do want to get to these.
Yes.
Eyeball Billy, does Josh Allen play too much hero ball, or does he not have a choice? I mean, you saw him play hero ball today, right? By trying to throw. I mean, here's the thing. His arm is so damn strong. He could flat-footed throw the ball 55 yards with very little problem.
There's so
right?
few of us in the world.
Oh, stop it. Listen to this guy. There's so few of us.
Video's coming soon.
But the truth is that he's dependent on his arm for so long. It's going to take him a while to understand when he needs to play smart. And yeah, the hero ball is definitely a problem for him because we've seen him do this a bunch of times already this year where he's in trouble and he takes a very low percentage of success chance that blows up in your face. He doesn't play the down and distance well just yet, right? And I think it's because he can make up so much distance with his arm. Down and distance doesn't matter to him at this point.
We said that the back end of the schedule was a little easier than the front end. Okay, because the fact that Josh Allen, like, let's say you're a believer in Dable, okay, does Josh Allen completing 50% of his passes bother you that he's playing against subpar competition as far as defenses? If you believe in Dable, because then you think that's true.
Counterpoint. Does the lack of a running game contribute to Josh Allen only completing 50% of his passes? I think it does, right? You're not running the football, so teams are they're just not worried about the run. They're not worried about
second counterpoint. They are when it's him.
Yeah.
So you're still taking a guy out of coverage to look at him.
Yeah, but he's 7 yards downfield, man. He's still in coverage. Right? We could argue about this all day. Let's get back to
teams
some
are going to
comments.
start saying, "Let him run for 150. We don't want him to throw."
Yeah, I think that's fair, and that's it. Yeah, that's.
Did you
that's
see him a couple times? We mentioned it last week. Did you see him a couple times going back to the hole? He's like, he's getting a play call, and they call 2 runs to Ivory just so he can get his win.
Man, I get tired walking up the stairs. This guy's running 55 yards with 800 pounds of man chasing after him. Yeah, I get winded walking up the stairs.
With the exception of the football field, you experience the same thing daily.
Skippy the Tub Rat. Let's see here. Talk to me when he has some protection and weapons to throw to. Talking about Allen, yeah, I mean, we could make excuses for a rookie quarterback, right? We could. They haven't given him the keys to the car just yet, so there's a lot of things that they're not asking him to do. But your wide receivers have to be better. This team is in desperate need of some help at wide receiver. It's in desperate need of some help at the running back position. It's in desperate need of some offensive line help. It's in desperate need of some tight end help because I can't imagine this team rolling into next year with Clay, Kroom, and Logan Thomas as your starting tight ends. I just don't see it happening, right? So you need some help at those positions. Now the Bills have a ton of money to spend, but I'm never in love with fixing your problems in free agency. I think you can do it with the O-line. I think the O-line you can spend money on and you can kind of get
nice pieces. Yeah,
you can kind of make that work. But when it comes to wide receivers, when it comes to run backs, when it comes to tight ends, I just don't think you get the value for the dollar as you do in the draft. You might as well just draft a guy. It's going to cost you way less, right? You might as well just draft.
It will cost you way less, but you're not getting the, there's a reason that they advertise jobs with, hey, must have minimum of 3 years experience.
Yep.
Because you're going to pick up things that I don't have to teach you. You know things I don't have to teach you yet. So if this coaching staff is really about developing players to come up together, then they will draft a bunch of linemen. If not, they're going to put a bunch of pieces together.
Lots of comments about the wide receiver. Skibag18 says we need wide receivers. Bills fan 7883. The dynamics of wide receiver now: Foster, McKenzie, and Zay. I really like. Zay has to catch. And the problem is when you start looking at Zay, he has to play the slot. And I saw somebody else comment about that earlier, and I've been saying this for a long time. Zay has to play the slot. He has to.
Yes.
He cannot. You cannot ask him to play outside. He's not physical enough to play outside. Foster is bigger than he looks, right? But that means that you're also pushing McKenzie. If you want McKenzie on this team, that means McKenzie has to play outside, and that's not really the role that you should be asking him to play.
No, he's a gadget guy.
Right, exactly.
He's like McLeod.
Right, so you still need a wide receiver who can play outside. Are there going to be guys out there in free agency who can do that for you? Sure, there are, but are there going to be guys out there who can do it well? I don't know. Can you draft a guy and come in? I mean, I don't think you can.
I swear to God, if Devin Funchess comes out of here,
oh God, I don't need to throw up in front of all our friends. So let's see. He's
gonna be a free agent. You were just saying that.
Stop it. Since when did McKenzie become a number one? I don't know, man. Like, you get what you get. You get what you get. Momo wants to know where you got that hoodie from. People were actually handing him change as we were walking into Tim Hortons today, so I wouldn't.
I think I bought the coffee. This was ordered online. Yeah. I think. Where was this place?
Ooh, Thomas Camp, breaking news: the Bills will hire Andy Reid to coach the Bills special teams next year. No, Andy Reid's not getting fired in Kansas City.
Dave Wannstedt?
As I said, I would take pretty much anybody to coach special teams for the Bills right now.
I'll put my application on.
Yeah, it's so brutal. Omar Reed said, if Allen can't run, it's stinky. I assume you're talking about the offense, and I 100% agree. The most dynamic thing about this Bills offense is, I think so, yeah.
Omar, welcome to the broadcast.
Yeah, thank you. You're right, though. Like, when you're asking Allen to pass, it's a mixed bag, right? And there's a variety of different things that you could say are the reason for that. It could be wide receiver, it could be O-line, it could be running backs. There's a lot of things that it could be, right?
Yeah.
But the fact is that there's so many things that it could be that they're all areas of need, right? And if that's the case, then your offensive coordinator hasn't done his job.
Well, if you're a defensive
that's the way I interpret it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong on that,
Well,
but that's the way I interpret it.
If you're a defensive coordinator coming in right now, what are you telling your team? How do you plan your team? How do you plan it? You say, hey, we're gonna stack the box and let him beat us with his arm, or are we gonna say, hey, we'll let him run. We'll cover the back end with 7. We'll let him run.
Yeah.
Because he can't do it all game.
Yeah.
We'll hit him or we'll do it something.
But he was banged up today too. Like he and Darnold both were pretty banged up.
When are we gonna hear the hey, Barkley dropped 40 on this defense?
We already did. I just didn't read it. It's in the chat. Don't worry
Oh,
about
it
it.
is?
Oh,
Okay.
Big Spence was over there before we even got here. Let's see here. Tim Ellington. Mario was awesome, but I would love to see him play Josh Allen in a deep passing competition. Big Spence, Mario versus Josh, charity QB challenge to raise money for carbon monoxide detectors on One Bills Drive. Big Spence has been on this kick that there's a gas leak at One Bills Drive.
I think there is now.
There might be. It gets more and
There'll be
more
one in
likely.
my house that think I could challenge Allen's arm too.
Thomas Camp, I just finished my 30-pack. Hey, it's Bills game. We get it, dude. We get it.
He only drank 3 by the end of the game.
I can't read some of these comments. Thanks, Tim. Not reading it, but thank you for that one.
Tell Jordan we said hi.
Yeah. Is Shady coming back? You know what? One thing we haven't talked about at all, Matt Milano.
Ooh.
Big problems here. Because on that next goal line stand, because you lose Milano, the next play, who's playing middle? We still have Edmonds, right? And then you have Alexander next to him, which is not ideal. You do not want Lorenzo Alexander playing middle court. But you kind of depended on Milano and Edmonds in tandem this whole season. We saw Safford a couple weeks ago, and that's just not something that you're really wanting to put in that circumstance. So you leave Lorenzo Alexander on the field. But damn it, that game-winning touchdown was on Tremaine Edmonds 100% of the way. The guy looks
Alexander, actually.
You thought, no way. Edmonds gets right to the gap, gets right there, sees it, gets there, and then just watches the run go right in. Like, Edmonds is a big dude, but dear God, when he gets that line, he does not play strong at all. Like, I'm sorry, I know there's a lot of Tremaine Edmonds lovers out there. I love the package, right? Don't get me wrong, I love the package.
Bill's fan agrees with you.
Yeah, good God, man. Like, play strong. You look like a Madden character where you jacked up, you know, the muscles to 99. Like, that's what he looks like. And he plays so weak he plays so weak at the line. He was right there. He was in that gap. He had it at the line
For
of
the
scrimmage.
reasons you give Allen passes on certain things, he's a rookie starting in the position that's you know, he's not usually used to playing middle. He's usually playing will. So you got to give this kid a pass on some things. I know we're 13 games into it. He was hurt for one, but the thing is, he's still learning as well. So let's just are you saying that if you make your mistake, make it at 100 miles per hour?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
In that situation,
Yes.
In that situation, you run headfirst into the wall. You make your mind up and you go. In that situation, that the game's on the line. It's the 1 yard line. Like, you can't play timid at the 1 yard line. If we're on the 30, I mean, it is what it is. But at the 1 yard line, you put your head down, you just hammer. I say that as a 145-pound, 6-foot-tall man. You know. Because take my word seriously.
It happens.
Doyle Fry, first comment, so thank you for joining the live broadcast. His wideouts can't get open. Talking about Josh Allen, his wideouts can't get open quickly enough. That's not on Allen because his wideouts must understand down and distance and learn how to sit in the zone and get off press coverage. Wonderful point. And we've talked about this on previous episodes that if you hope the Bills are going to draft the wide receiver depth that they need, that's going to take some time. And that's what you're seeing with McKenzie. That's what you're seeing with Zay. That's what you're seeing with Foster. You don't understand everything that comes with being an NFL wide receiver. Yes.
Who catches the majority of the passes across the middle?
You tight ends?
No, right now, the Buffalo Bills. Who's the guy that's always really going across the middle and sitting in zones and catching passes? Foster, right?
Yeah.
He went to Alabama last year with Dable.
Oh, yeah.
So he's the only one that understands the read routes that are going on in this offense.
Yeah,
Other
okay,
guys still have
that's
to try to read it.
That's a
but the
good
thing
point.
is, more importantly, is that Allen has to read it as well, and he's not. So, I mean, if you think about some of the, I mean, you want to talk about, hey, well, McKenzie goes over the middle. Yeah, but he doesn't throw it to McKenzie until he's on the other sideline. You know what I mean? But Foster is one of the only guys that really runs those inside routes because he knows the offense that's set up.
That's a good point.
So
Yeah, that's true.
It's tough for both of them, and I agree with you totally. It's like this. The last 4 games I said before it happened today. The last 4 games are another preseason.
Yeah.
You're looking at talent.
Yeah.
You're evaluating talent. You're going to see who's going to be on this team next year, who's not, who's buying in, who's not. And you know, try to get some development out of some of these players. This is basically the last 3 games are just going to be a learning curve for a lot of these guys. And you know, you're going to start to see, like Paul said before, you're going to see a lot of new faces.
Yeah.
You're going to see a lot of people come onto this team, and just hopefully that the maturation process can evolve. Like, do I expect Allen to throw for 300 in the next 2 games?
No, of course not.
I really don't. I mean,
Of course not.
they're playing Detroit, they're playing Miami, and they're playing New England. You know what I mean? I don't expect Allen to run for 100 against, you know, Belichick.
No.
But seeing how Belichick plays him will be the so-called blueprint for the rest of the league going forward on Allen.
Oh, interesting.
If he's not running,
Yeah.
and you know, they put a bunch of people in front of him and say, you're going to force us to beat you with the pass, and he goes 12 for 40 that game, I would worry. I would worry a little bit. You know what I mean? Because Belichick is one of those guys where a lot of people steal stuff from him because he's been such a great defensive
And
coach.
this will be Belichick's first crack at Allen.
Yes, it will. So,
That's a good point.
so I'm not really sure how that'll manifest, but I'm very eager to see how that's going to play out.
Gary Blake, hey, can you send me one of those beanies to California? Go Bills. Brian Gordon comes in. Bills
said
need to
that?
draft Gary Blake.
Gary Blake, they actually got this at David Adams.
Oh,
Actually
yeah.
purchased this
Oh,
at David
perfect. Yeah.
Adams.
So when you go to David Adams' website and you buy that, you can also enter our contest through our YouTube page. So go to our YouTube page. We send out links on Twitter and on Facebook. So there's a contest that we have to give away an autographed Hall of Fame Thurman Thomas helmet. It's badass. It's in my house till the end of the year. I'll be sad to give it up. But you want to enter because you can enter every day. So that's kind of our thing, you know, from us to you
after
guys.
The show.
After the show, yeah. Go enter that after the show. But yeah, the David Adams, that's where you got that beanie.
Yep.
Brian Gordon, Bills need to draft wide receivers to grow with Allen. Again, you run into a little bit of an issue trying to draft receivers to make any immediate impact. The best way to impact your team long term is to draft that talent, right? That's, you look at the wide receivers in the league, and the good ones are still playing for the team that they were drafted on. Like that's
takes a while for them to develop.
But it does take a while. Eyeball Billy, am I right thinking Josh Allen leads the Bills in rushing this season? Also in rushing touchdowns, yes, across the board. It's not even.
He's got like close to 500 yards.
It's not even close to anybody else. Like Josh Allen is clearly leading the Bills from that statistical category. Thomas Camp, I hope the Bills lose the rest of the season so we get the number 4 pick in next year's draft, so we can, you know, get another defensive player.
Does it depend how they lose? Because I don't want.
I think it does.
I don't want any
bit,
blowouts.
right?
I don't want to be sitting here at 6 o'clock with you. Talking about a blowout.
Yeah.
Hi, this is everything that we could fix. We did it last week too.
We could start doing this from a bar. It would make it a lot easier, right? That would be a fun
You
time.
know the perfect one too.
I do?
On Lockport Road.
Oh, yeah, we go to Solidays. There's some good food there at Solidays on Lockport Road. Nick Lettieri, Josh Allen was flat on his ass all game, and Darnold had 10 seconds on every pass. The Bills did not have a great pass rush today. Yeah, thank you again.
Yeah, he did. No, they didn't. They really didn't get very much pressure on him. It's interesting to see how the Bills were playing it, because it didn't. I didn't see where they were trying to attack.
No.
It looks like they were just playing him straight up.
Yeah.
It's okay. We'll give Darnold time. We can cover. We can cover his receivers because he doesn't have that much talent on the back end. And then Crowell went out early, so like, okay, we have to focus solely on the pass. And they didn't. They brought pressure every once in a while, but not a lot. It was weird.
Well, and one thing you saw the Jets do was when they brought pressure, their whole goal was to hook Allen. So what they did was they wanted Allen to step up.
Yeah.
Right? That was their game plan. They're like, we're going to give him the middle. That's fine. We want Allen to step up. And you saw all the defensive linemen go out and around, right? They opened that gap for Allen to have to step up, right? Because they knew that it takes his arm out of the game, and he has to run. So I do think the Jets did that today. I think they dared Allen to run a lot of the day. It said, come on,
it takes
go
a
ahead,
lot
go
out
ahead.
of him.
Yeah.
If anything, if the Dolphin game didn't let us know anything, is that running 9 times for 135 yards on that last play when he had to put a more juice on the ball, he couldn't. He was gassed. I mean, he's got to feel like a middle linebacker does after the games at this point.
He's got to be exhausted,
Even though he
man.
runs and like slides all over the place.
He's got to be exhausted. Doyle Fry, it's really not a talent issue. Not saying none of it is Josh, but a lot of it isn't. If we had a wideout like Julio Jones, then we would definitely be seeing his arm talent shine. Again, I think the Bills did the best they could, right?
Yeah.
So they've got Jordan Matthews last year because they thought that might be a piece that they were going to be able to sign long term, right? They tried that, it didn't work. They got Calvin Benjamin because they were able to control him for 2 years because he was a number 1 wide receiver. They got him, it just, again, didn't work. So it's not like it wasn't from a lack of effort. They drafted Zay Jones in the 2nd round because they thought here's a guy that could develop. And again, we're seeing flashes and fires. You know, like it's tough with him. Joe Smith comes in, fire Crossman now. Dude, you're preaching to the choir here, man. We've been screaming for Danny Crossman's heads for weeks.
From us,
We've been screaming for Danny Crossman's heads for weeks. Skippy the Tub Rat said they'll Patreon for an Uber for us if we go to a bar.
Who?
Skippy the Tub Rat. So they'll pay for the Uber if we go to a bar.
That would be hilarious. I don't even know. You do not want to see this guy with alcohol. It's you know the Tasmanian devil? Yeah. Multiply that times 5.
Guys, it's not that bad, I promise.
Let's start powerbombing people off the bar. Don't let that 150-pound frame fool you. This guy's an animal.
So, one thing to focus on going into next week is the injury to Matt Milano, right? Focus on that because that's going to be a big blow to this defense. Milano has been, not to say he's been an unsung hero, but a lot of attention has been paid to Tremaine Edmonds, right? Milano's had a Pro Bowl year. Honestly, he's been playing at a Pro Bowl level.
He's been playing phenomenal.
And it's a shame to see him get carted off, but that's just what it is at this point, you know. I don't know what to say about it. It is what it is. Tim Ellington has made like 6 comments talking about things in his pants.
Tim, put the bottle down, buddy. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
He's made like 15 "that's what she said" comments.
Yeah.
I swear to God.
So again, if you want to see something, an episode next week, an episode this coming week,
Yes.
don't be afraid to hashtag in the comment section on this hashtag Q&A.
Where'd I put it? There it is.
Is that really going the right way?
It's just the phone that's wrong. See?
Is it?
Look at the 12. It's fine.
Oh yeah, look at that. Oh yeah, all right. So there we go. Yeah. So if there's anything you want to
It's
see,
like our 17th broadcast. He's just finally figuring it out.
I don't know this whole technology thing. I don't know how it works. We show up, we plug in the camera.
Let me
like,
find the Google machine. What do I do?
I think I knew that. I think I heard that on the interwebs. Milano has elite coverage skills for a linebacker. Yeah, that is true. Milano
Yes.
does have elite. Well, he was a free safety. He played free safety
Well,
his freshman and sophomore year at Boston.
I'm trying to think. I can't remember.
Somewhere
But
around there.
When
He
he
had
bodied up
history.
Gronk, he
Yeah.
bodied up Gronk in that first meeting with New England, and that's what told me, man, this guy can cover too. He's really good.
Eyeball Billy, I see 4 sports represented in your attire today. Yes. I have a golf hat on. I mean, what sport does it? I mean, this doesn't classify as anything. It's just Adidas, right?
He looks like a Real Madrid coach.
Oh, soccer is so stupid. Soccer and tennis, the 2 things in this world I can't stand. Can't stand soccer and tennis. Oh, that's Pop-Up's courtesy of Captain Insano.
Oh my God, that's big man.
Big
Don't let him
to
do
the
that
Captain
again.
Insano reference. Appreciate that.
So sick of Dable. His scripted series are good. The rest of the game he calls is the same 2 run plays and the same screen plays on first and second down. Nick.
True story right
Thank
there.
you so much
True
for
story.
that.
Dable draws up great script, right? But as soon as he has to go off script, as soon as you get, 15 plays deep into a game, like the second quarter, it really just goes off track. Halftime adjustments are basically minimal. It's tough to watch this offense.
I really think
he
I think he calls those run plays after Allen takes off and needs a rest.
Granatata.
Yeah, there's a couple other T's in there. Yeah. It's made of all vowels there.
I've never seen so many drops.
Yeah, I mean, but one thing you could take away from this game.
But is that
do you
an
think
Allen, though?
No. Some of them are. Some of them are. Because if you put some on him, then there's not that many drops. But the times he did put him on him, he put it on him, and you hear and all over the place.
Yep.
Here's my question to you, and to you guys: did Allen take a step forward or back today?
It's a sidestep for me. I didn't. This is a lateral
Okay.
move. I didn't love
Does he
anything.
take a step forward? I can't answer that yet. I was gonna say, does he take a step forward with a different OC? Because we saw this defense play lights out when the offense was putrid. Now, the last couple games, they've been putting up 20 a game. What's going on? What is really going on with this defense being able to stop anybody? Because I think in the second and third quarter, when the offense goes stale, I think the defense gets tired out.
Yep.
I really think it does. And they gave up a couple short fields today.
Yep.
So you can't completely put that on the defense. But Allen, I think he learned. I think after today he took a step forward. Not
Okay.
really in the game, because I think there were some times he's like, listen, I just got to throw it away.
Mm-hmm.
There's some other times where he's like, listen, I can't run so much. Live to play another day. I think the fact that he's running so much now and not taking huge shots, but he's still getting hit, will force him to stay in the pocket more. I think it will force him to stay in the pocket, and he'll learn, hey, I gotta get through my progressions faster because I'm doing 1-2 read and I'm running. Or try to, he's just got to develop that trust in his wide receivers. He just does not have that right now.
Oh,
because-
zero. Yeah, zero.
None of them are over 6 feet tall. And they're all running right. I don't even think you can see them.
So we, a couple things. John Marilla states that Dable needs to play Madden football. I mean, you might get some new plays out of it, so I'd go for anything right now. What about Ray McLeod? Ray McLeod was active today for the game. Did you know that?
I know Thompson was.
Yeah, Thompson was active. Ray McLeod was active. Let's see here. Ray McLeod saw 0 targets. I don't even remember him being on the field. He was supposed to be active for the
I
game.
didn't see him. I think maybe he was just playing kickoff.
Yeah, that's 8. I don't see him anywhere here. Yeah, he didn't record a single target or stat today. With McKenzie playing the way he is, I mean, I think you might look at it the same way. as the whole Josh Allen thing. You have Ray McCloud on a 4-year deal, so he's here, right? McKenzie's on a 1-year restricted free agent. So I got a little bit of a different circumstance. I think you have to know a little bit more of what you have there.
When you drafted Ray, so you have him for 4 years.
Yeah.
Are they trying to get him on the field to see if he's a replacement for Zay?
I can't imagine how he would be, man. Like, you just look at the
saying.
profile. I don't get it.
I'm just going through. They seem to be getting rid of a lot of guys that aren't performing or are inconsistent.
Well, John Patrick brings up a great point. Why is Patrick DeMarco on this team right now? You're running the ball like you're one of the worst running teams in the NFL right now if you remove Josh Allen's staff.
Well,
so what are you doing with Patrick
Let's
DeMarco?
look up his salary. If he's done at the end of the year, he's done at the end of the year. That's fine.
I'll look that
There's
up.
no reason to cut him now. I mean, you have like a half a running back left.
Yeah, I'll take a look.
But I just can't foresee, like, the Milano injury is huge. How is Allen going to progress? Will the scheme that we see going against Detroit be a little bit different because, you know, they're having some running back problems and they're having some wide receiver problems. They lost a couple wide receivers too. And you got a guy he's got the same mentality as a gunslinger as Josh Allen's, but he doesn't run as much. So it's interesting to see. I think this defense bounces back against what?
Patrick DeMarco's signed till 2020.
That's why he's not cut.
That's why he's not cut yet.
So the thing about it is what you're going to do is this defense will bounce back next week, I believe, against Detroit because you have a very similar type offense, albeit headed by Jim Bob Cooter.
One of the best names in football.
Greatest offensive coordinator name ever. So he's going to be coming in here, but it's a similar type of offense that you have. You got like some role players at wide receiver. You have a big bruising running back and a really shifty running back, and you got a gunslinger at quarterback. So this defense is used to going up against that in practice every week. So I think they're going to bounce back next. This defense, I'm saying.
Mel Kelt, first-time comments. A lot of first-time comments today. So thank you very much for hanging out with us. I like Zay, but he needs to catch with his hands and not his, I'll just say chest. It's that was a problem for Zay in college too. So I mean, let's not color this anything that it's not. Zay had a problem letting the ball get inside on him in college too. The difference is he was just a pure volume pass catcher. So it was. This is something that's been a long-standing problem for him. Last year, you saw nearly no development from him. He was thrown out there, and it just didn't work. Out of the gate. But he needs to spend time getting those hands out. He has to.
Oh, look at Doyle Fry. I'm a Bama fan. Stick with Dable. He doesn't have the personnel he needs to run this offense the way he envisions it. You want to hear something real sick?
I would love to.
The Bills still owe Alabama $240,000 for buying out his contract.
Come on, really?
Not even joking.
It can't be about money.
So the Bills are funding a national champion right now. So we do have a title.
Yeah, that money's going to pay off Alabama's players' salaries.
I'm done.
It's tough for me because there are things that I like about Dable. There really are. There are things that I think he has shown in planning perspective. When he gets the time, he's good.
Quality control.
It's a quality,
job,
exactly. That's quality control. So I don't think he's up in the role just yet, right? He does it, right? He works with his quality control team. He does a good job there. But the play calling after the first quarter, it needs to get better.
I have seen very little change from him coming out of the box to coming on the field to how the development of this offense has been. It's been Josh Allen. And if Allen didn't have the legs and the instincts that he did, this team would be in a lot more 3-and-outs.
Yeah.
And I don't think some of the plays, Allen's bailing them out.
Yeah.
Some of these things. And I mean, Doyle, I respectfully disagree as far as Dable because, I mean, in watching the games all year and trying to study all of the progressions and stuff and the clock management and everything, I rolled it all into one. I just don't see him because I thought him and Allen were going to develop together. And I know having a bunch of quarterbacks hurts you, but you look at the track record of Dable in the NFL, every team he's been on, he's had multiple quarterbacks, and they haven't been very successful or productive. So,
okay, real quick question. Dable's your offensive coordinator next year. Do the Bills draft Damian Harris, running back out of Alabama in the first round? Tell me it's not a need, dude. Tell me it's not a need. He's probably the best running back in college football. He's probably the top ranked running back in college football.
We've seen a mixture of Alabama running backs come out where they already peaked in college, and then we've seen them where they don't know how to pick up a blitz in college, and we're going to entrust a rookie running back that doesn't know how to pick up a blitz. I don't know. You bring up an excellent point though. That's something that definitely could happen.
Let's see here. First off, can we just stop drafting Clemson players? Can we stop drafting players from Clemson, please? They're never healthy. Let's stop drafting players from Clemson. Let's see. Mel Kelv comes back and says, before you can learn to win, you need to learn how to compete. Allen's competing his ass off out there. He's definitely taking his lumps. Joe Smith comes back with the exact same comment he had earlier. 54 destroyed Miller. Miller's just not good. He's just not good.
Yeah, he's gonna
Mills
be a
and Miller
free agent.
together are not.
I don't
think they're going to re-sign him. It would be a shock to me if they re-sign him. Honestly, it would be a shock to me. We're just floating through what we got. I am surprised we're not seeing more activity. They paid a lot of attention to the wide receiver position, bringing guys in, but we haven't seen it with the offensive line. And I'm curious if it's because it's harder to bring them up to speed at this point.
I think so.
You know?
I think when you have a JV offense, it's easier to get guys and plug them in.
Here we go. Here we go.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, here we go. Let's see here. Are we spending big on the O-line in free agency? We're going to. You're looking at losing Mills, losing Miller. You're determining whether you're going to keep Teller as your starting guard.
That's why he's in there.
That's why he's in there right now. Dawkins, I still think is misplaced as a left tackle. I think he will probably replace Mills at right tackle, depending on what the draft says and what's out there in free agency.
Did you say put him at right guard?
Right tackle.
Oh, I mean earlier, before.
Oh, I think Dawkins should be playing right guard. Personally, that's why.
Can he snap? Put him center.
Who's the backup Bill center? Do we have any idea?
Reed? No,
Oh, Reed Ferguson?
I don't know. I don't think so.
You can't ask the long snapper, who's 100 pounds lighter than any other offensive lineman, to go
Tell
in
him to
there.
snap and pull every day. He'll get out there quicker than anybody.
Let's see here. Big Spence says we have to re-sign Miller. We won't draft O-line.
Hashtag gas leak.
Yeah, no, it's not going to happen. Searless might play guard. But still, I
Searles,
think
yeah.
you're still going to back
He's
that
still a
position
free agent
up.
though, so they still would have to sign him. That would be the telling
Is
sign
he a
if they
free
sign him.
agent?
Yes, he's a free agent next year.
Yeah, normally I know that stuff. You got me on that one. You
Yeah,
got me on
button
that.
hook me. I knew you were gonna button hook me.
Any more Panthers players coming in? Hashtag Q&A. John. Yeah, we got. Yeah, I'm sure there's a few.
He's wearing blue, so I told you right there. I don't know. You love the Carolina connection.
Oh my gosh, stop it. All right, we should wrap this up.
We should film some stuff. Right?
We should go cut some episodes. So again, we're going to go through the hashtag Q&A. So if there's anything that you want in there, go ahead and throw that in hashtag Q&A. We'll cut an episode for it this week. Also, don't forget to enter the David Adams autographed Thurman Thomas helmet giveaway. You can see that on our Twitter feed. You can see that on our page. It's in the description of this video. Yes?
I put it in there. Yes.
All right, so if you go click the description of this video, the link for the contest is in there. You'll do all your entries through Gleam. It allows you to enter that in every single day.
It's just before the subscribe button. So
Yeah.
click the link, subscribe to our channel,
Yeah.
tweet, visit
Yeah.
David Adams on Facebook, visit David Adams on the website, go buy some stuff for Christmas.
Never wearing this jacket again.
I know, I just totally killed
Damn
him
it.
with it.
Damn
But yeah,
it.
definitely go there. Even if you're not interested in the contest, which I don't know why you wouldn't be, a Thurman Thomas autograph Hall of Fame helmet is pretty awesome.
It's bad.
Go to David Adams. They have so much great stuff there. Please go check them out and go get some stuff for the kids for the holidays. So.
All right, well, thank you for joining us again. Anything you want, hashtag Q&A. Thank you, everybody, and we'll talk to you next week. Later, guys.